Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Run It Back. I originally planned to have this video out for Father's Day, but due to some health issues that have been slowing me down lately, editing has taken a bit longer than usual. I appreciate everyone's patience and support as I work through it. And a huge thank you for those that has wished me the best going forward, that's seen me mention them in my 1-year channel anniversary community post. Now before we begin, this countdown isn't about the best fathers in terms of parenting. It's about the most iconic TV dads. Characters who made a huge impact on pop culture, shaped how dads were portrayed on screen, or were just unforgettable for one reason or another. Honestly, if I made this list again tomorrow, some of these rankings would probably change. That's how tough it was to narrow down. But with that said, let's run it back through 25 of the most iconic TV dads of all time. 25. Randy Marsh, South Park. Randy Marsh started out as just a background dad in South Park, but over the years he's morphed into one of the wildest and most chaotic fathers on television. Whether he's shouting about integrity or turning every little inconvenience into a national crisis, Randy's ridiculous antics have made him a standout character, even in a show packed with outrageous personalities. While he's far from a traditional dad, Randy represents a kind of unfiltered, unpredictable fatherhood that fits perfectly in the world of South Park. He's iconic not because he's great at parenting, he's definitely not, but because he constantly pushes the limits of absurdity, keeping the show fresh and giving us some of the most memorable and meme-worthy moments in its history. 24. Hank Hill, King of the Hill. Hank Hill is the definition of old-school, no-nonsense fatherhood. Standing tall and stiff in Arlen, Texas, with a propane tank in one hand and deeply rooted values in the other. As the dad to the eccentric Bobby Hill, Hank constantly found himself baffled by his son's creative spirit and disinterest in traditionally manly things. But despite their differences, he never stopped trying to understand Bobby, or protect him in his own way. What made Hank so iconic was how real he felt. He wasn't flashy, loud, or cartoonishly wild like many other animated dads. He was just a simple man trying to do right by his family, his friends, and the propane industry. His dry humor, stubbornness, and eventual growth made him one of TV's most grounded and genuinely human fathers, even in cartoon form. 23. Ward Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver. Ward Cleaver was the gold standard for fatherhood in the 1950s. As the head of the Cleaver household, he embodied the idea of the wise, no-nonsense dad who always seemed to know the right thing to say. Calm, composed, and principled, Ward was an idealized vision of suburban post-war fatherhood. Even though some of his values and parenting styles feel dated today, there's no denying Ward's influence on how TV dads were portrayed for decades. He helped define the archetype of the all-American patriarch, setting the tone for countless sitcom fathers who came after him. 22. Hal, Malcolm in the Middle. Hal, played hilariously by Bryan Cranston, brought an energy to Malcolm in the Middle that was both chaotic and oddly endearing. He was far from a traditional authority figure, often as immature as his kids. But his weird hobbies, panic attacks, and harebrained schemes made him one of the funniest and most unique TV dads of the 2000s. What made Hal iconic wasn't just the comedy, though. It was how much he clearly loved his family despite being overwhelmed by them. His vulnerability, quirks, and occasional moments of wisdom helped redefine what a modern dad could look like on TV, paving the way for more unconventional portrayals. 21. Mike Brady, The Brady Bunch. Mike Brady represented the calm center of one of television's most blended families. With his calm demeanor and open-minded parenting style, he made managing 6 kids, a dog, and countless family crises look effortless. He often served as a voice of reason, delivering heartfelt life lessons at the end of nearly every episode. Though sometimes mocked for being a little too perfect, Mike Brady's significance lies in his role as one of the first major TV dads of a non-traditional family unit. His iconic status isn't just about his speeches or his groovy 70s wardrobe. It's about showing that love and structure can thrive in any family dynamic. 20. Julius, Everybody Hates Chris. Inspired by Chris Rock's real-life father, Julius was the ultimate penny-pinching dad with a work ethic that made you exhausted just watching him. Terry Crews brought a ton of humor and heart to the role, making Julius both hilarious and incredibly respectable. He had multiple jobs, never stopped hustling, and still made time for his kids. Julius became iconic for his one-liners about saving money, lines that became memes in their own right. But beneath the laughs was a deeply devoted father doing everything he could to raise a strong family in a tough neighborhood. He's a modern working-class legend among TV dads. 19. Ricardo, I Love Lucy. Ricardo broke boundaries in more ways than one. As one of the first Latin American TV dads on mainstream television, Desi Arnaz's performance in I Love Lucy helped pave the way for greater diversity in sitcoms. Ricky wasn't just Lucy's husband. He was a proud father who brought a vibrant musical charm to the classic series. His role as a dad was more subtle, especially since I Love Lucy was more about the couple's hijinks. But when baby Ricky was born, audiences were captivated. The birth episode famously drew more viewers than President Eisenhower's inauguration, proving just how beloved and culturally impactful Ricky and the show itself had become. 18. Stephen Keaton, Family Ties. Stephen Keaton was the heart and soul of the Family Ties household, a former hippie-turned-public television station manager who tried to pass on his liberal values to his 4 children, Alex, Mallory, Jennifer, and later baby Andy. Played with warmth by Michael Gross, Stephen brought a level-headed, thoughtful presence to the chaos of family life. His clashes with his ultra-conservative son Alex P. Keaton were legendary, but always filled with mutual respect and love. Stephen stood out as a dad who listened. Whether he was trying to understand Mallory's dating choices, offering support to Jennifer's growing independence, or helping raise Andy with more patience and experience, he always made space for his kids to be themselves, even when they challenged him. He represented a kind of open-minded, emotionally aware fatherhood that helped define a new generation of TV dads in the 1980s. 17. Tim Taylor, Home Improvement. Tim the Toolman Taylor may have grunted his way into a lot of accidents, but there's no denying his place as one of the most recognizable TV dads of the 90s. Host of the fictional show Tool Time, Tim was the king of macho energy, often misguided but always entertaining. He represented a certain kind of dad who meant well but constantly messed things up in hilarious ways. But underneath the power tools and explosions, Tim cared deeply about his wife and 3 sons. He learned lessons, sometimes the hard way, and wasn't afraid to admit when he was wrong, eventually. With the help of his neighbor Wilson and a whole lot of trial and error, Tim became a dad many viewers saw a little of their own father in. 16. Andy Taylor, The Andy Griffith Show. Sheriff Andy Taylor was the calm, wise, and endlessly patient father raising his son Opie in the small town of Mayberry. Played by Andy Griffith, this TV dad became a symbol of strong, small-town values and moral clarity. He didn't yell, didn't spank, and never needed to raise his voice. His gentle approach to parenting made him stand out. Andy's character was also notable for being a single father during a time when most TV dads had wives managing the home. His heartfelt talks with Opie became a hallmark of the show, and his level-headedness and sense of justice made him not only a good father, but a great man. 15. Peter Griffin, Family Guy. Peter Griffin may not be good at being a dad, but he's certainly iconic. As the bumbling patriarch of the Griffin family in Family Guy, Peter brought a new level of absurdity and inappropriate humor to animated fatherhood. He's irresponsible, selfish, and borderline insane, but he's also become a pop culture staple over the past 2 decades. His popularity stems not from his parenting skills, but from his over-the-top antics, pop culture references, and willingness to do literally anything for a laugh. Love him or hate him, Peter Griffin is one of the most instantly recognizable animated dads on TV, and an undeniable force in adult animation. 14. Charles Ingles, Little House on the Prairie. Charles Ingles, played by Michael Landon, was the ultimate frontier father, living off the land and guiding his family through endless hardships. Pa Ingles represented resilience, faith, and the strength of the human spirit. He was stern but loving, and always guided his daughters with a sense of integrity and wisdom. In a time when fatherhood was often portrayed through urban or suburban lenses, Charles brought the struggles and values of rural life to television screens. He's remembered not just for surviving the harsh realities of pioneer life, but for doing so while maintaining deep emotional bonds with his family. 13. Gomez Addams, the Addams Family. Gomez Addams may have been spooky and kooky, but he was also an absolutely devoted father. In a world of gothic weirdness, Gomez was the heart of his family, overflowing with passion, playfulness, and genuine love for his kids and Morticia. His eccentricities never got in the way of his role as a dad. They enhanced it. Gomez was one of the first TV dads who showed that being different didn't mean being dysfunctional. He was open-minded, supportive, and completely confident in his family's uniqueness. That kind of radical love and acceptance helped make him a truly iconic patriarch. 12. Dan Connor Roseanne. Dan Connor was the everyman dad of the working class. Played with warmth and humor by John Goodman, Dan was sarcastic, big-hearted, and always willing to take on the burdens of life so his family didn't have to. He wasn't perfect, but that's exactly what made him feel so real. Dan brought emotional honesty to the sitcom world. He wasn't overly sentimental, but you always knew he cared. His chemistry with Roseanne and his grounded presence made him the rock of the family, and he represented a side of fatherhood that was underrepresented at the time. Tough love with genuine vulnerability. 11. Al Bundy, Married with Children. Al Bundy is what happens when a once promising high school football star grows up to sell women's shoes and hate his life. But for all his bitterness and endless complaints, Al Bundy became an icon for flipping the traditional sitcom dad on his head. He wasn't the ideal father. He was the realistic one, at least in a darkly comedic way. What made Al so iconic was his brutal honesty, cynical outlook, and shameless delivery of lines that would never make it on air today. He was miserable, yes, but he still loved his family in his own messed up way. And that anti-hero dad energy? Legendary. 10. Cliff Huxable, The Cosby Show. Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable was once considered the pinnacle of TV fatherhood. A successful OB-GYN with a great sense of humor and a deep love for his family, Cliff showed viewers that a black father could be present, warm, funny, and highly educated, all while navigating the ups and downs of raising 5 kids. His sweaters alone are pop culture artifacts. While the legacy of the character has been complicated by real-life controversies surrounding Bill Cosby, Cliff Huxtable's impact on television is undeniable. He changed the game for how black families, and especially black dads, were portrayed on TV. And for decades, he stood as the standard for sitcom fatherhood. 9. Fred G. Sanford, Sanford and Son. Fred G. Sanford brought grumpiness to a whole new level and made it hilarious. Played by the incomparable Red Fox, Fred was a quick-witted, scheming junk dealer with a soft spot buried underneath all the sarcasm and fake heart attacks. His chemistry with son Lamont was pure comedic gold, and their back and forth defined the show. Fred was one of the first black TV dads to really take center stage in a mainstream sitcom, and he did so without sugarcoating anything. He wasn't refined or idealized, but he was real, and viewers loved him for it. With catchphrases like, "You big dummy," and "This is the big one," Fred Sanford carved out a place in TV history. 8. Red Foreman, That 70s Show. Red Foreman was the ultimate tough love dad. With a stern look and a sharp tongue, Red never hesitated to tell his son Eric exactly what he thought, with the words "dumbass" becoming his signature phrase. But behind the hard exterior was a father who cared deeply, even if he rarely said it out loud. Red became an icon by perfectly capturing a certain type of no-nonsense dad from the Midwest. He may not have been warm and fuzzy, but he instilled discipline, responsibility, and grudging respect. In a show full of stoners and slackers, Red was the reality check, and fans loved him for it. 7. Carl Winslow, Family Matters. Carl Winslow was the stern yet loving heartbeat of Family Matters. As a Chicago cop, he balanced a stressful job with managing a loud, chaotic household, and of course dealing with Steve Urkel constantly popping in. But through it all, Carl remained composed, honorable, and deeply invested in raising his kids right. Played brilliantly by Reginald VelJohnson, Carl brought authority without being overbearing. He was firm but fair, strict but sensitive. His role as a positive black father figure during the 90s was incredibly important, and he still stands as one of the most beloved TV dads of his era. 6. Jason Siver, Growing Pains. As a psychiatrist who worked from home so he could be more involved in his children's lives, Jason Siver was ahead of his time. He was level-headed, emotionally intelligent, and knew how to strike a balance between being a parent and a friend. Whether dealing with teen rebellion or sibling squabbles, Jason handled it with calm maturity. Jason represented the modern professional dad who could still be present and connected. His dynamic with his kids, especially rebellious son Mike, felt authentic and full of mutual growth. He wasn't flashy or loud, but his stability made him unforgettable. He was the rock in a show full of growing pains. 5. Danny Tanner, Full House. Danny Tanner was the clean freak with a heart of gold. As a widowed father raising 3 daughters with the help of his brother-in-law and best friend, Danny showed that dads could be nurturing, emotional, and fully hands-on. Bob Saget brought sincerity and warmth to the role, turning Danny into a symbol of love and vulnerability. Danny was the ultimate dad joke dad, corny, caring, and always ready with a heartfelt talk by the bay window. In a time when most TV dads were still stiff and stoic, Danny normalized being openly affectionate and sensitive. His role helped redefine masculinity on TV, especially for fathers. 4. James Evans Sr., Good Times. James Evans Sr. was the epitome of strength in the face of adversity. Living in a Chicago housing project and constantly battling poverty, James did everything in his power to support and protect his family. He was stern and sometimes uncompromising, but it all came from a place of deep love and determination. Played powerfully by John Amos, James brought dignity and depth to a working-class black father that hadn't often been seen on TV. His death on the show was one of the most emotional moments in sitcom history, proving just how essential and unforgettable he was. Damn, damn, damn wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a cultural moment. 3. Archie Bunker, All in the Family. Archie Bunker was loud, bigoted, and stuck in his ways, but he was also one of the most groundbreaking characters in TV history. All in the Family used Archie to challenge American viewers, forcing them to confront uncomfortable truths about race, gender, and politics through the lens of a flawed but very real father. What made Archie so iconic wasn't his beliefs, it was the complexity behind them. He wasn't a caricature. He grew, he stumbled, and he often revealed vulnerability behind all the bluster. Carol O'Connor's performance made Archie Bunker unforgettable, and his influence on how we write and understand TV dads is still felt today. 2. Philip Banks, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Uncle Phil wasn't just a great dad, he was a father figure to millions of viewers. As a powerful judge raising his own kids and taking in his nephew from Philly, Philip Banks showed tough love, compassion, and unwavering moral strength. His speeches hit hard, and his lessons stuck with you. James Avery made Uncle Phil a towering presence, both literally and figuratively. He challenged Will, loved him like a son, and helped raise a generation on integrity and black excellence. That hug after Will's "Why don't he want me, man?" scene, still one of the most emotional moments in TV history. Uncle Phil wasn't just iconic, he was legendary. Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions that just missed the list.
Letting you know you're my hero. Letting you know you're my hero. Letting you know you're my hero. Letting you know you're my hero.
1. Homer Simpson, The Simpsons. No TV dad is more instantly recognizable than Homer Simpson. He's clumsy, clueless, and often a terrible role model, but he's also the heart of The Simpsons. For over 30 years, Homer has made us laugh, cry, and question how he keeps that job at the nuclear plant. Homer's impact on pop culture is beyond massive. He changed the game for animated dads and gave us countless catchphrases from dough to donuts. While he's far from perfect, his love for Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie always comes through in the end. Homer Simpson is not only the most iconic TV dad, he's a TV institution. Thanks for watching this countdown of the most iconic TV dads of all time. Again, I wanted to get this out for Father's Day, but sometimes life and health gets in the way. I appreciate all of you sticking around as I try my best to pump you with dopamine of nostalgia as much as possible. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing Throwback Tier members, Peace by Chaos, Thecula, iCritic, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. Let me know in the comments which TV dads you think should have made the cut, or how you'd rank them differently. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more nostalgic deep dives every week, only on Let's Run It Back. Until next time, keep the nostalgia alive.